Okay, this is going to be a training on Air Canada. And let's see if I'm recording the right screen. Okay, this is going to be a training on doing a search using Air Canada. We're recording this to see about doing a search on Air Canada. So the first thing you do is copy the customer name into the name area, and then put what kind of miles you're going to try and use in capitals. And if that changes, you can update that later if you decide to use a different type of miles. So if we go to the request workflow checklist and put that we're using AC miles business class, put your name here and just write working. That we're going to try and use Air Canada Aeroplan miles. So the first thing you do is go to this request info, and I like to write down on a piece of paper in front of me the date. So she wants the 19th of April and back the 1st of May. It doesn't say anything about flexibility. So there's the departure date, the 19th of April. There's the return date. This little parentheses right here doesn't have anything in it. That means she's not flexible. If there's nothing in these parentheses, it means the dates are not flexible. This trip type return means that it's a round trip. The word return is the same thing as saying round trip. It's business class for one person, and here's her routes from YEG to AKL, and then return. So I've written down these dates on a piece of paper in front of me, or you can put them on a sticky note. I've written down these cities, YEG to AKL. And the first thing you do, one of the first things you do is to go to a website called Matrix, and put in the cities. This is my shortcut to Matrix right here. One thing you want to do first is to put in the cities and see kind of how much it sells for, to see what you're up against. Also, it kind of tells you a chance to see if there's any nearby cities they can leave from. Like if you click nearby right here and check for anything within, say, 300 miles, a nearby airport, you'll see that they could leave from Calgary as a nearby airport, or even I'm just looking to see because I thought Vancouver was fairly close also. Calgary, and here's Vancouver. Even though it's 500 miles away, we could use a connecting flight to get there or to Calgary. So we could use connecting flights to get there, but we'll start out by just looking at what she wants, which is YEG to Auckland. We'll put in her dates, 19th of April, and put in the 1st of May, returning. One moment, I gotta answer the phone here. First Class Discount Air, it's Donald speaking. May I help you? Hello, may I help you? Okay, so let's see, April 19th. It's giving me some trouble. 04/19/17, and this is 5/1/2017. Okay. I'm just making sure my screen is shared. I don't see the thing around it showing that I'm sharing this screen, so I want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Looks like I am. Okay, so and we want to get business class. You always change the currency to US dollars. Everything we do is in US dollars for the actual comparisons and quotes. So what I'm doing first is looking at Matrix just to make sure that it's not a really cheap $500 flight or something like that. It looks like it averages about $5,200. And you can also double check if it's in premium economy, is it really cheap? A lot of times if they can buy it in premium economy really cheap, we're not going to be competitive because a lot of people will do that. So I'm just checking to see. So it's about $5,000 in business class. And if they wanted to choose premium economy instead, I'm just looking to see what the competition is. These are prices that they would get if they never called us. So it's about $4,000 in premium economy and it's about $5,000 in business class. So that tells me that this one's definitely worth working on because it's kind of an expensive ticket. And just a second, I need to look at something separately, just a moment. Okay, so in premium economy it sells for $4,000, in business class it sells for $5,000. So by looking at Matrix we can tell this is a good one to work on because the ticket's not cheap. It's not like an $800 ticket or something like that. So actually I can probably send either a business class or a premium economy quote and be successful at saving the customer some money. So the first thing that we do, if the date is flexible, we would go to KVS Tool, but the date is not flexible, so therefore there's really no need to go to KVS Tool to look around to see what date's available because they're not willing to take other dates. They just want these dates. So I'm going to go directly to Air Canada on their website, which is called Aeroplan. You can sign up here for your own free account. Just go and click become a member and sign up for your own free account so that you can use it for searching. We're not going to buy any tickets through your account. It's just to use for searching to see what's available. Sign up for a frequent flyer account. Mine is 948-735-410. Let's see what's wrong. 948-735-410. Okay, so we're going to do a round trip from YEG to Auckland. Personally, I like to search it as 2 one-ways because then I have more flexibility to play around with things. And with Air Canada, it doesn't matter if you put it together as 2 one-ways to make it into a round trip. There are some airlines where it matters. It costs more if you do it this way. Like you would not do this with Asia Miles and you would not do this with Emirates. But with Delta, Air Canada, British Air, Air France, etc. It doesn't matter if you do it as 2 one-ways and then piece it together in the quote and make it into a round trip. I like, when it's possible, I like to search it as 2 one-ways because it gives me, it's easier, it gives me more flexibility. So if I look at the 19th of April and just worry about the outbound for now, it's for one person, business class, and let's see, it says it's not available in business class because that's what it says up here. So therefore, I'm going to try it in premium economy. And I normally would not try it in premium economy unless I've already noticed on Matrix that it sells for a lot of money in premium economy. So therefore, I can probably still be competitive if it's available. So I'm going to try it in premium economy, because Matrix told me that even a premium economy ticket sells for $4,000. Okay, this says there's no availability. So what I can do is I can try connecting through different cities. For example, when I go look at this, you see how it says right here that it connects through Vancouver? So it goes from YEG to Vancouver to Auckland. So that tells me I could try a trip on Air Canada starting in Vancouver and then just buy a ticket separately for the customer to get from YEG to Vancouver. So let's try that. Let's go to Air Canada and try going from Vancouver to Auckland. Vancouver to Auckland, we'll try business class first. And that's on the 19th. See if they have just a piece of it, you know, the long piece. We can add the short piece later by just buying a regular ticket and adding on to it. Our tickets that we sell, normally we buy them with frequent flyer points and sell them to people for a discount. So what I'm doing right now is looking for something that I can buy with frequent flyer points. Okay, that has nothing available in business class. So let's try changing it to premium economy and see if that's available. Normally you don't sell tickets in premium economy unless it so happens that that route's real expensive. And this route is real expensive. It's a long ways. It's halfway around the world to Auckland, New Zealand. When you find a flight that's available, usually the one at the top is the best one because it has the shortest trip. This one, they each have one stop, but this one's 27 hours and this one down here is a 29-hour trip. So obviously I'm going to try and get this one at the top first because it's a shorter trip. And it looks like that this is available from Vancouver. So what I could do is I could go back and try it as a multi-city and see if I can go from YEG to Vancouver first. YEG. Let's see, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to do it in separate pieces. So I'm going to have to see if I can just go as a one-way from YEG to Vancouver. The reason is you can't do a multi-city on a one-way, and I'm just doing one-way so far. So YEG to Vancouver, let's see if this is available. Okay, this is available in economy for 7,500 miles. Let's see, let me try it in business class. It'd be nicer if that first short piece was in business class. So yeah, that's available in business class for the first short piece. It's more miles, but I think it's worth it to them for checking in, for having access to the lounge, for having a better luggage allowance. So we're going to use this first piece from Edmonton to Vancouver separately, and we're going to go put that in the award calculator, which is under Tools, Award Calc. and we'll put this first piece by itself. I could buy this first piece with miles, or I could buy it with money from Matrix, but since it's available with miles, I might as well buy it with miles. 15,000 miles is what it says here, and it's for one person, because you see this one up here. Let me kind of get my pointer. So you always check and see these miles covers one person, so therefore I don't need to split it in the word calculator. It's 15,000 miles, and you always get the taxes from the very bottom right, because sometimes there's other fees added as you go on down, so you got to get the tax total at the very bottom. It's 8308 Canadian dollars. So if we go to our converter, put CAD for Canadian dollars, 8308, put it in with no dollar signs and no decimals, excuse me, no dollar signs and no commas, so that you get the right answer over here, which is 63 US dollars for that piece. And we might as well compare and see what that costs if we were just going to buy it separately anyway. So we're going to go in here and just put Edmonton to Vancouver and see what that flight costs, to make sure we're saving them some money on it. Because if it's 15,000 miles, the miles in your mind are about 2 cents a piece. So that's roughly $300 that we're paying for it if we use our miles. Let's see if that's going to save us money under what it's just to buy it outright as a, yeah, we're saving about $100 on it. So we're good. Okay, so see, because if I look here, we're paying $210 for the miles, $63 taxes, so it's costing us $273 for that flight by buying it with miles. And if I bought it a regular ticket, it would cost us about $390 to $400. So we're saving money. So it's smart to use miles for this piece. If we were not using miles, we would click to expand down here, and we would put YEG to Vancouver, and we'd put, you know, the $400 price or whatever here. And then that's for flights where you're not using miles. You're just buying them off of Matrix to fill in what you cannot buy with miles. But we're not doing that, so I'm going to get rid of that. Just click to expand it or click to shrink it. This is for cash flights that you're getting from Matrix that you're not able to buy with miles. If we're able to buy it with miles, it goes up here. So we're going to end up having another piece in here that goes from Vancouver to New Zealand, and we're going to have another piece for the homeward trip. So we're probably going to end up with 3 lines. So we're combining 3 separate rewards into one reward to make it into a round trip. The first piece of the reward is just going from YEG to Vancouver. The reason we're going to Vancouver is because that's where we saw that the plane change is. So this is going to be business class. So I'm going to go get this flight, business class, flight 247. So I want to click right here, advanced routing codes, and put in AC 247 as the flight number that I'm looking for, so that I get the right one. And I want business class. So here's the flight. It would normally cost $400 if we bought it, but we're buying it with miles, so we're going to get it cheaper. So I'm going to get that flight and copy it and put it into the quote. So we go down to the itinerary and put it in the quote and click save, and get rid of the symbols in there that tend to send us to spam. It's a short flight, so I don't need to look up and see if it's a flatbed. You only look it up and see if it's a flatbed if it's over about an 8-hour flight. If it's under an 8-hour flight, we don't care if it's flatbed or not. So I just put business class by itself here. So that's just the first leg, and I'm buying that with miles. I'm getting that for 15,000 Air Canada miles plus some taxes, and that's just the first leg. Now I'm going to go on Air Canada and look for the second leg. And the only reason I'm searching it as separate legs is because it wouldn't give it to me all together as a complete trip when I tried to do it all together as a complete trip. So I'm breaking it up into legs to try and piece it together. So now we're going to go from Vancouver to Auckland, because we already got from YEG to Vancouver. Normally you don't have to do that separately, but I'm doing it separately just because the website is forcing me. It wouldn't give me the availability any other way. So now I'm going to do this, and I'm going to still do one way. I'm going to try for business class first if I can. And remember, this is the one where I tried for business class before and it wouldn't give it to me. See, it says right here, there's no availability. So I'm going to click new search and change it to premium economy for this piece and search. We don't want to do the whole trip in premium economy because we specialize in trying to give people business class and first class rather than economy or premium economy. But here it is available. It was not available in business class, but it is available in premium economy for the long flight. It's okay if any short flights under 4 hours are in economy. We will accept that. If this is a flight that's under 4 hours, this is 3 hours and 5 minutes, and it's in economy, that's okay, because all the flights that are over 4 hours, like this 9-hour one, excuse me, this 15-hour one right here, is in premium economy. So we'll accept that. So now we're going to get these flight numbers, AC33 and NZ706. And we're going to go to Matrix. The only reason I'm going to Matrix is to get what we call the pretty flights. I'm going to click reverse route, and it's going to be from Vancouver to Auckland, New Zealand. And I'm going to put in my flight numbers right here, which are AC33 and NZ706. 706. So I have to answer a question. This person's asking if we can upgrade an existing ticket, and I'm telling him, no, I'm sorry, we cannot. So he's gone off the website now. Okay, so we were going from Vancouver to Auckland. I got my flight numbers in there. I got the date, and I want premium economy. And let's see. So I'm going to hit the duration button to bring the shortest flights to the top, and then hit this blue X to close it. So I have a flight that's 27 hours at the top, and I have another one that's 75 hours at the bottom. Obviously, the one at the bottom has an overnight stay or a layover somewhere. I don't want that one. I want the one at the top that matches the layovers that the Air Canada site gave me. You got to make sure and compare this 9-hour layover is the same thing that Air Canada offered us. Here's a 9-hour layover. So I'm checking the dates. April, oops, this says April 21. I wanted April 19. What did I do wrong? New search. Oh, April 21 is the arrival date, sorry. It leaves April 19th, and then they fly all night, and plus they cross the date line, so that means this connecting flight is on April 21. It has a 9-hour layover, so you make sure the dates are right. April 19th, April 21, 9-hour layover, make sure those match over here on Matrix. April 19th, April 21, 9-hour layover. So then you hit the button for getting to the pretty flights. You click right below this black line with the left mouse, then let go of the mouse, then hold the shift and click over here after the word economy, and then hit Control-C to copy it. And then when you paste it in here, you click over here to the right. Let me show you. You click over here to the right of what's here, and when you do that, a black line will show up flashing, and then you hit enter and it takes you down to the next line, and then you hit Control-V to paste it in there, and then you don't adjust anything, you just save it first. And then after you save it, then you go in and get rid of these symbols, and then you make sure that this says the same thing that the Air Canada website offered, and it does. It was premium economy and then economy, so this matches what Air Canada said. So I don't need to look up whether it's a flatbed, because it's not. It's premium economy. I don't need to look up the flatbed on this business class. It's a short trip. The only one you look it up to see if it's a flatbed is anything that's over 8 hours. but it would have to be in business class or first class to be flatbed. So because it's in premium economy, I don't even have to look it up. I know it's not a flatbed. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so we have the outbound, but we've got to get the miles for the outbound into the award calculator. And here it is, it's 67,500 miles plus 436.71 Canadian dollars, 436.71, no dollar signs, no commas. And here's the taxes. And so 67,500 miles, 67,500 miles. And the taxes I'm going to paste in here in US dollars. I don't need to split it because it's already for one person. Okay. And so now I have the first half of the trip, business class over to Vancouver, then the same day, Vancouver to Sydney to Auckland. Okay. Now I can work on the return. So if I go do the return, I just go back to Air Canada. I hit new search, and now I want to go from Auckland, hopefully all the way to YEG, all on one ticket if I can. So I'm going to try and search this. Okay, and this return date is the 1st of May, based on what the customer wants. And I hit business class, and one person search. Let's see if it's available in business class. If it's not, then we'll try premium economy. Okay, this says it is available partly business, partly economy. So I click on details, and we only accept economy flights that are under 4 hours. This one's okay, it's under 4 hours. The next flight is 13 hours, and it's in business class, so that's good. Let me get my pointer so you can see what I'm pointing at. So this is an economy flight that's under 4 hours, so that's okay. This is a business class flight that's over 4 hours, so that's okay. And this is another economy flight that's under 4 hours again, so that's okay. And so let's see. So therefore we can accept this one. And you can see that it's 80,000 points. And it's the long flights in business class and the short ones are in economy. That's okay as long as the economy flights are under 4 hours each. We don't accept economy flights that are over 4 hours each. We wouldn't quote them, we just skip it. Okay, so here's the flights that we want, here's the miles. So I'm gonna go put the miles in the award calculator for this homeward trip. It's on a third separate line. I just hit 80, tab, or click out here in the white area to make it calculate. And then the taxes are 156.80 Canadian dollars. So I'm gonna put 156.80 Canadian dollars, and no dollar signs, no commas over there on the left. And here's what that converts to. We'll put that in the award calculator. So now we have our complete price in the award calculator. Usually we put the GP at 400, but then you can adjust that depending on how things look. So see how it's 33.11 here? That doesn't sound so good. So I'll take off $11 and make this, let's say, 385 GP. And so now the price is 32.95. That's what we want. We want the price to be like ending in 95 or 98 or 94 or 96. So 32.96, 32.97, 32.98, something close to 32.95. So you adjust this 400 up or down to get this to be around ending in 95 or approximately 95. So our GP is going to be 385. I'm going to write that down because I'm going to have to know my GP later on is 385. And here is the pricing and everything. So now I have the pricing complete, so I can click Export XML on this middle button right here. Let me show you where that is for sure. You click this button, and then you click over here in the white area, and then you hit Control A like Apple to highlight it, and then you just a second, I'll get caught up with myself here. So you click over here in the white area, Control A to highlight everything, Control C to copy it. Remember, I clicked this middle Export XML button, then I clicked in the white area, then I hit Control A, then I hit Control C. And then I take that over to my quote and go to financial info, which is step 2. And I click this blue button on the left that says import calc. And then I go in this box to the top and hit Control V like Victor to paste it in there. And then I have to put the retail price in here. Remember, the retail price was between $4,000 and $5,000 for business class versus premium economy. This is mixed, so my fair retail price is going to be between $4,000 and $5,000. So I'm going to put that the retail price is $42.95 because that's a rough estimate of what they would pay for if they never called us. If it was all premium economy, they would have paid $4,000. If it was all business class, they would have paid $5,000. So I'm going to average those two and estimate it that they would have paid $42.95. I'm selling it for $32.95, so we're saving them $1,000. Okay, then over here you change the currency to the currency of their home country. But before I change it to Canadian dollars, I want to change it to Japanese whatever or something that I don't want first, and then change it to what I do want. You always change it to what you don't want first, and then change it to what you do want. And here's Canadian dollars. So I already changed it to Japanese yen that I don't want. Now I'm going to change it to Canadian dollars that I do want. The reason I want the price in Canadian dollars is that they live in Canada. They're going to want to know kind of what that compares to in Canadian dollars. So in US dollars, I'm selling it for $32.95. The same trip, if they look at it in terms of Canadian dollars, the same price converts to about $43.30. Okay, and then this retail price is the US dollar retail price. Okay, then anytime you make a change, you always click Save Quote. And now I got to go get the rest of my itinerary because I'm still missing the homeward flight. So I'm going to look at my Air Canada here, write down these flight numbers, NZ733, AC36, AC234, or I can copy and paste them. If I want, I can just copy this NZ733, Control C to copy it. I can go to Matrix and switch my flight so that I'm going from, I'm going to click reverse route. Now it's Auckland back to YEG. And I'm going to put the flight numbers in here, paste in that first one that I got. This date is now May 1st. Let's see, May 1st. Make sure that matches what Air Canada is telling me. The departure date is May 1st, so that's right. Then I'm going to get my next flight, which is AC36. And go copy that and put it over here in Matrix right after that NZ33, but with a space. Then there's the AC flight, the next one. And then here's the third flight, which is AC234. Control C. And I go over here to Matrix and put that in there. Put a space and put the flight number in there. It's going from Auckland to YEG, May 1st. Business class, US dollars, search. It's not all business class, but I can edit it later. So I hit duration to get the shortest trip to come to the top and hit the blue X to close it. Then I hit details to make sure this matches my Air Canada. So there's a layover of 13 hours and then 2 hours. Let's see if that's the right one. Yep, 13 hours and then 2 hours. The dates are May 1st, May 2nd, May 2nd. So if I go look at these dates, May 1st, May 2nd, May 2nd. So I have the right flight numbers, the right dates, and the right layovers. So now I'm going to click this and get the pretty flights. Click right below the black line, let go of the mouse, hold the shift, click at the end down here, and hit Control C to copy what we call the pretty flights. Then I'm going to go put those in here, click to the right of what's there so the black line flashes, hit enter, and then my cursor moves down, and then I paste it in there and hit save. Now I've got to make sure that everything matches what Air Canada gave me. Plus I need to get rid of these symbols because they tend to send you to spam. And after getting rid of the symbols, I need to find out if any flight that's over 8 hours is business or first class. I need to find out if it's a flatbed. So this flight is over 8 hours. It's 13 hours and 35 minutes. So I need to go to Seat Guru and look up and see if this Air Canada Flight 36 is a flatbed or not. So I'm going to go to my Seat Guru shortcut, which is right here. And then I'm going to click on Find Seat Maps at the upper left. And then I'm going to put in that flight number AC36. Oops, what happened? AC36, and it's on May 1st. Let's go check that that's right. So I'm looking on flight 30, oops, that's May 2nd. Looks like they're going to have to stay overnight in Brisbane on this trip. So actually that flight is May 2nd. Okay, so May 2nd, go and hit view map over here, and then look at the upper right hand corner to see that business class is flatbed with 180 degrees. Let me show you that. So here's business class, and here's the seating details. It's a flatbed seat with 180 degrees recline. Okay, so I want to tell the customer that because that's a good selling point. And to do that, we go over to the quote and put flat bed 180 degrees and move that to the next line. And if you don't have the symbol, the little 0 for degrees, you can just spell it out and just type DEGREES if you have to. But my computer has that symbol on the keyboard, so I can use that. Okay, business class flatbed 180 degrees. This flight is business class, but it's only an hour, so we don't care if it's a flatbed or not. And actually, remember the Air Canada website told us that this first flight was an economy coach, and it also said this last flight is not business class, it's an economy coach. So I need to edit that and make sure that these flights agree with what the Air Canada site gave me, the Aeroplan site. Economy, business, economy. Just because Matrix gave it to me a different way, economy, business, business, I do not pay attention to what Matrix says because we're not buying it from Matrix. We're buying it from Aeroplan, Air Canada. I need to accept a chat here and work on this for a minute, so I'm going to pause the recording for a minute. I need to talk to somebody on the website for a minute. Okay, so we have to make sure that what we're putting in the quote matches the Air Canada Aeroplan or the reward website that we're using. The class, the layovers, the dates, the flight numbers, everything has to match what Aeroplan, Air Canada, or the reward website gave us, not what Matrix says. We're just using Matrix to get the airline logos and get a pretty picture of the flights and the times, and we have to modify it to match what the Air Canada Aeroplan website said. So let's see, we have this all matching. This flight was in economy. This flight was in economy on the Aeroplan. This was in business class. We looked it up and got the flatbed. We have the right dates, May 1st. They're staying overnight in Brisbane and continuing on May 2nd. We'll hit save itinerary. Okay, so now let's see if we have all of the pricing. Oops. The financial info. We have all the pricing in there. We have the retail price, which you can estimate. Just make sure it's higher than what we're selling it for and make sure that it's fair in comparison to what Matrix says that they would have paid if they never called us. And we have the itinerary complete. We've double checked it, so now we're ready to send the quote. So this first complicated screen that shows up where you see all these percentages and things, you do nothing to this screen. Don't touch it. The first screen that you see, you do nothing, but instead you hit preview and send again at the lower left. And let me get rid of my marker. So you hit this preview and send button at the lower left, and it brings you to a pop-up screen. If you accidentally lose track of this pop-up screen, you can just, let's say it gets minimized by mistake. You can point to your Chrome windows, and it's one of your Chrome windows that will pop up. So there it is again. You just point to Chrome and you can bring it back up again. When you get this quote send screen, there's 3 things you need to do to it. The first thing is to copy the US dollar price from right here, hit Control C, and put it up here in the subject line instead of what's there. And then put a space in front of the D and spell out the word dollars. And it's mixed class This one is a mixed class, so I wouldn't say business class, I would say mixed class. And it's a round trip, so I'm going to put includes return. You can put whatever you want in the subject line that makes sense. Some people just put the price and that's it. It's up to you. So I put the price in the subject line. That's the first thing you do. The second thing you do is that on your computer, you need to save a paragraph that you can put into each quote. Click after the word savings, hit enter, hit Control V to paste it in there. And this is a paragraph that you enter into each quote that tells people that they will not be earning miles because we paid for the ticket with our own miles. And then the third thing you do is click to the right of the signature down here. And when you click to the right of the signature, a black line will show up. And see, there's the black line flashing, and then you just hit enter and it takes you down here. Then you put the first part of your email address, your company email. It's usually your first name and your last initial. And then you put how many seats you search for. I searched for 1 seat. Even if it was 2 people going, the price up here in the subject line is for 1 person, and the comparison price is for 1 person. But the 2, if I did search for 2 seats, just means that if they want to buy 2 of these, there are 2 seats available. Then remember, I wrote down my GP, which was $3.85. If my GP was $3.80, I changed the 0 to a G. We use a G for zeros in the code down here. So if it's a $3.80, it would be 38G. If it was 300, it would be 3GG. But mine's not. Mine is $3.85, so it's just $3.85. The only one that we changed to a G is the zeros. So this is the code at the bottom. Your first name and your last initial, which is the first part of your email address. The 1 or 2 or 3 is how many seats you search for. But no matter what that is, your price up here is still for 1 person, and your comparison price is still for 1 person. Notice that this put in the Canadian dollar price also as a comparison, but we're actually selling it for US dollars, not for Canadian dollars. And that's it. Those are the 3 changes. Put the price in the subject line, add this paragraph, add your code at the bottom using G's instead of zeros for the GP, and then you just hit send. Now, after I've sent it, let's say I don't remember whether or not I sent it or not. I don't send it again. Don't click send email again if you're not sure you send it, but instead close it with this X and go back to your original quote. And let me get back to my original quote. Go back to your original quote and then hit the refresh button up here, or you can click in the white area and hit F5 to refresh. And make sure that right here where it says quote status, make sure it automatically changes to sent. Okay. Remember, the quote status used to say researching when I was working on it, but once I've sent it, I don't change it to sent myself. I just hit F5 to refresh, or I click this refresh button up here at the top, and when this page refreshes, it should automatically all by itself change to sent. And then after you do that, one moment. Takes me a minute to clear my drawings. After you do that, then you go to the request workflow checklist and double click on AC and put, instead of working, put sent and a box that says it's completed. Okay, so I sent an Air Canada quote. I could put sent partly premium economy and partly biz. You know, you can explain what you did there if you want. And that's it. When you make changes in this request workflow checklist, you do not have to hit save down here, because just this section only will update itself, save itself. So when you click in step 1, once you click it to submit it, it's saved already. You don't have to go to this lower left corner and hit save. In fact, it won't let me hit it save again because this quote's already been sent. Once it's been sent, it doesn't let you make changes to it. Okay, so that's it for this particular quote. When you want to go back in and look at it later, you go to quotes, quotes needed, go to the same name. This time, if you want to go look at it later, you do not hit the new button, but instead you hit the edit button. So this lady's name was Lamberr, and there she is. I do not hit the new button to go look at it, but instead I click the plus symbol. And it looks like while I was working on Air Canada, a different agent was sending a Korean Air option. See, this KE means Korean Air, and his or her name is right here. So we sent one that's partly premium economy for 32, and he sent one for 35 that's on Korean Air. And again, if I want to look at his, I don't click new, I just click edit if I want to go look at his. And his was sent. Here's his itinerary using Korean Air miles, and looks like he got her all business. Well, Edmonton to Toronto was economy, and then Toronto to Auckland was on Korean Air, and then back, and then it came back through Vancouver. So see, he started out in Toronto and did this on Korean Air, and then he got a connecting flight, probably from Matrix for cash, to get to Toronto. Then on the way back, he didn't go back to Toronto. He went to Vancouver, and then a connecting flight from Vancouver. So he was pretty creative. So if we go look at his math line, he's probably got 4 lines in here. So let's go look at it. His GP is 400 right there. Here's well, that's interesting. I think he's got a mistake in his miles here because it says he's using Alitalia miles. Maybe these flights are available on Alitalia, but I doubt it. I think he's got a mistake here. So I'll contact him about that. I would think that it would be, well, maybe Alitalia is a partner with Korean Air. Maybe he did get all these flights from Alitalia. I'll have to double check that with him later. But his math line, I would have expected it to have Korean Air miles, but apparently Alitalia must be a partner with Korean Air. So he's either got a mistake or else he's really smart to get this multi-city trip through Alitalia miles. So whichever it is, I'll double check that later. Okay, so anyway, that's how you look at a previous quote. And that's the end of this lesson. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.